What is up, everyone? Coming back at you with another episode here in the garage, and it's definitely turned to fall here in Utah, so we've got a garage close type of video today. But it is an exciting day here on the channel because behind me is the new heart for the C10. I can't wait to dive into this, tell you guys all about it, and give you a quick little walk around. And we're actually going to start tear down today, so let's go. All right, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the heart transplant going in the C10. Super excited about this. This is the exact motor I've wanted for this. And truth be told, I spent like a week and a half digging this out of a junkyard. It kind of battled me. Anyone trying to dig out a junkyard motor, I definitely say try and take it out with the transmission connected. I tried to unbolt it first and it just ended up being a huge hassle. Once I disconnected the transmission completely, this whole thing came out, made it a lot easier. But what is this? This is an LQ9 LS Series 6-liter GM motor out of a 2002 Escalade. And this thing should be pretty rowdy once we get it in the C10 and once we're done building it. All right, guys, here it is, our LQ9 LS Series GM 8-cylinder motor out of a 2002 Escalade. This is a 6-liter. This is honestly the best junkyard motor you can grab. There's not a lot of better motors out there. I mean, I don't know a lot of Fords and how many 5.0s you can get easily in a junkyard, but this is the best GM LS Series motor you can grab out of a junkyard. And I got to be honest with you guys, I got this for very, very cheap. I love my local junkyard. They're awesome. So this thing's going to be sick. Stock form, this has 335 horsepower. And when we toss it in the C10, it'll have a little bit more than that. So pretty excited about that. But here it is. It definitely fought me. I got to be honest with you guys. I spent like a week getting it out of the Escalade. Pulling motors in a junkyard, not something I'd wish upon anyone, but if any of you are thinking about doing it at home, keep the transmission bolted to the engine when you take it out. It is a lot easier that way. I tried to separate it and it just did not want to separate, especially on an automatic with the torque converter. It got in the way. It was a disaster. And also, don't be afraid to get aggressive with it. Cut everything, disconnect every single thing, every last bolt. I made the most progress when I unbolted the transmission completely and decided to pull out the transmission as well as unbolting the entire front end of the Escalade at the junkyard. So that really helped us. Here is our LS motor that's going to be going in the C10. We're going to be building this up, doing kind of a poor man's build. We'll do timing chain. We're going to do a cam swap, make it sound really nice. Gaskets. Clean the whole thing and make this thing look prettier than the turd it looks like right now. So I'm super excited for it. Let's start to break down this thing. All right, everyone, we are starting to get this LS engine broken down pretty good. Just got the AC compressor off. I'm not going to be running AC. I just don't really like the look of any of the retro style conversions because the truck did not come from the factory with AC. So we'd have to do some modifications to the interior and be a little bit of a hassle. So for the time being, not going to be running AC. I went ahead and got the clutch fan off. Not going to be using the clutch fan because we're going to be running E-fans. Got the coil packs off, both valve covers. What we're going to be doing next, these motor mounts aren't going to be used because I need conversion motor mounts, obviously. And then I'm pretty sure with my standalone harness and ECU that I'm going to be running, we're actually going to be converting it to a MAP sensor. And so I believe I don't need O2 sensors anymore. Don't quote me on that. But we're going to try and get these pipes off. So it's just the manifold there. I've got some connecting pipes that'll be bolting on there, and then we'll fab up the exhaust the rest of the way out. I believe this is EGR related. We don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. I live in Ireland. So we're gonna take this off. I think there's a block plate that I can get here as well. But this is just super ugly, so we're gonna take that off. That may do it for everything. Tearing down engines are actually pretty relatively simple. And then we're going to start to take things off like the valve covers, get them cleaned up, and just start to degrease and absolutely clean this filthy engine. It's gonna be crazy the transformation that this thing will go under. So yeah, let's do it. All right, so we almost came out unscathed, but the top one did break. I honestly expected both of them to break, so for only one to break, not too bad. Honestly, no, I guess I will go the budget route and keep these cast manifolds. Might do something to try and spruce them up a bit. But yeah, we're gonna need that block off plate there. So but next thing I'm going to do, I got to get that drilled out right now, and then we're going to move on to motor mounts, and then I think I'm going to clean the upper intake area and valve cover area, and so then I can tape over this, get that all covered, and then we're going to just pressure wash the crap out of this engine, degrease down here, oil pan, everything, try and get this thing looking a lot better. So that's what we're doing next. Let's go. All right, guys, we pretty much got the LS all torn down as much as we want to at this stage. Motor mounts are off, and I even was able to get those pipes off that came out of the exhaust manifold. Once again, Freeall for the win. If Freeall wants to sponsor this video or any of my videos in the future, I will do nothing but talk good about your product because it kicks butt. Those are very scary nuts to get off, and they came off super easy, so that's super sick. We're gonna start to get this area cleaned up, tape this up, and then we're gonna start to clean the rest of the engine. Yeah, let's get this thing cleaned and keep making progress. All right, so we got the LS just about ready to get sprayed off. We got the pressure washer hooked up, and I'm gonna actually pressure wash the entire bottom half of the engine. Don't necessarily want to spray the top off just yet because we have the exposed intake ports. So we're going to be very careful with that. But over here, I've just got Dawn dish soap in a spray bottle. Dawn dish soap, actually a great degreaser, so we're going to be using that. Got some Shop Pro cleaner. Got some scrubby tools. So we're going to get this thing all sprayed off, and hopefully we can get this thing shining a bit better, and that's what we're doing next. So let's go. Okay guys, here is the current state of the LS after one wash. As you can see, looking a lot better, but still a lot of gunk. And again, I have yet to work around the valve cover area, but we're starting to look a lot better here. But man, there is just a lot of grime, grease, and dirt all over this engine. We do, however, get the actual color of some of the things like the cylinder head, the block, and the oil pan. Before, it was all just one consistent sludge black color, and we're even starting to see the color of the metal on the front cover. We need to start working on these areas here around the valve cover. But what we're going to do next is I'm going to actually do a compression test on the motor and see the health of our engine here, and hopefully we get some good numbers back. But this, now that we've got things kind of cleaned up a little bit, can kind of work on it and see what we're actually working with here. So I'm going to hook that up, and fingers crossed we get some good numbers on all 8 cylinders. And then towards the end of the video, I'm going to unveil the final cleanse, or one of the final cleanses of the motor, along with possibly the color of the valve cover. So you can look forward to that at the end of the video. But let's compression test this. All right guys, so we got the compression tester all hooked up, ready to go. Honestly, this setup is not going to give us accurate readings, so I'm not looking for OEM spec numbers, although we would like to be close to there. This engine hasn't been ran in a long time. It's just not going to be accurate with the typical LS numbers for this engine. However, what we can do by looking at this and gathering compression numbers on all the cylinders is we can look for consistency. As long as there's consistency across all 8 cylinders, I'm going to be happy with that. So that's what we're looking for today. Here's our setup. I'm actually going to be using the impact to turn the crank this way. Don't know if that's the ideal way to do it or the safest way, but I also have a breaker bar that I could use as well. But yeah, we're gonna turn it and see what kind of numbers it does, and hopefully we have consistency all across. So let's do it. All right guys, scratch the compression test. I'm kind of dumb. I thought the impact gun would be able to turn the engine to build compression, but it cannot. And if I turn it by hand, it is just not, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna be able to properly build compression. So I don't think we're going to be able to do the compression test for this video, because I need to grab a starter and then kind of maybe hook it up to a battery, and then I can just turn it that way, and then we can compression test it. As for now, it is time to get to some more degreasing, and then close out this video with hopefully a good looking engine. All right, let's get it. All right, guys, so taking a look at the engine, I mean, there seems to be 8 cylinders in there. So that's a good sign. Popped off the bottom cover here. We're taking a look at the pistons, connecting rods, the crankshaft, and everything actually looks pretty good. For a junkyard motor, that I'm not seeing any screaming issues. I've checked the play in all of the connecting rods and the main bearings here, and everything feels pretty good. Same amount of play, the standard play between all 4 sets here, and it actually looks pretty clean in here. I did notice on, I think it was this cylinder maybe, or this cylinder, a little bit of rust in the cylinders. The others looked okay, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. Maybe some water just got down in there. Not a huge, big deal, but nothing looks milky. This just looks pretty standard, and I mean, so yeah, looking pretty good. I think I'm gonna toss the bottom cover back on and maybe cover this up in preparation for our next video, which is going to be doing basically all of the gaskets and everything, and maybe new headers. Haven't decided. I'll probably pull the trigger on the ones I'm looking at. I think I'm gonna grab a new timing chain, but yeah, you guys can just look forward to that in the next video. So honestly, looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this engine. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to this video. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. What are you waiting for? We've got the LS all torn down, and you guys can look forward to getting this thing looking a lot more spicy than it does right now. Getting some fresh gaskets on there and just cleaning this thing, prepping it to toss it in the C10, which is right behind me. Super exciting. We're getting down to it. Almost about ready to get this thing ready to go in the truck. So this is super awesome. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like. And as always, peace out.